What's up, folks? Welcome again to another session of Let's Chat with me, Meor Addelan. All right, on today's topic, on today's conversation that we're going to have is we're going to look into the creative side of things. Yes, what is creative? Creative is so subjective. There's so many things that you can be creative of. In my opinion, at least, everyone out there who creates stuff, who creates things, maybe on paper or physical, those are creative people. And when we talk about creative people, we want to talk about artists. And one thing that has been going on lately is that artists are becoming a bit more irrelevant. A lot of artists out there are definitely going to make a big fuss about it. Who better for me to talk about this, to debate this on together with a very good friend of mine, our creative and content producer down here in KL, ladies and gents, Zikri, Marzuki. So jumping to the topic at hand, are artists a dying breed? You have actually pointed out to me that in this newspaper, the people that they have interviewed or they have made the survey, 71% sees that artists are no longer relevant. That's a bit a smack on the head, isn't it? Saying
It
that
is.
artists is no longer required. They're not being appreciated. Your comments, Zikri, what's going on?
Well, before I answer this, let me just put it out there that this is a survey. It's just a public opinion, and it's not wrong or right in any way. But it does hit some spots in me and the likes of my friends as well, and it is worrisome. And I just like to explain it in the way I know best, and maybe shed a light into artists' plight. To answer your question, actually, this new age is the perfect time for artists. Basically, for most artists, people can succeed. Artists are still relevant, and people can succeed as an artist. Now, everyone is connected to some digital means or the other, and art is all about the message. And today, it's easily circulated. And what worries most artists and I is actually the perception of the masses towards arts itself. We are more distracted today than we were like 20, 30 years back. And it's hard for us to stop and look at what's around us and appreciate the arts, around us. From patterns to in our carpet, in our homes, to the patterns on our shirts, and the music that we listen to, the sounds. These are all form of arts. And art is what moves and inspires mankind to greater heights. I mean, at some point in time, an engineer, doctor, lawyers, pilots even turns to arts, be it painting, pictures, sculptures, music. God, these help them to achieve their aspirations of becoming what they are today.
Mhm.
But sadly, society only sees the end product that is either big or tall, or makes the most money, because ultimately that's the symbol of currency of the economy. You
Yeah,
know.
exactly as you mentioned. I mean, like, again, normally right now in this day and age, people would have this scale whenever they see
Yeah.
something and how they value something. Imagine going to your future in-laws house and explaining to them in this current day and age,
Yeah.
yes, uncle, I am an artist. What kind of an impression would that give? That's the stigma
See,
out there that artists,
exactly.
people who are artists, they get this. I mean, in comparison, I mean, not dishing out this kind of people, but okay, I'm a pilot. He would definitely be welcomed more into the family because of that perception. Now, why do
Yeah.
these perception actually exist? Aren't artists good enough? Really?
Well, that's it. I mean, people's perception of success, it's always been, monetary nowadays, especially with, the cost of living going high and everything. And especially if you, like in the case of meeting your in-laws, and especially if you're a guy, and in our culture and society, normally the guys take care of the ladies. And if the guys are not earning enough, and that means he cannot support a family. So
Yeah.
that's dipandang serong lah in that sense.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of wrong. I mean, people make a living in any kinds of form,
Mhm.
and artists do make a living too, and it's a decent living, not as luxurious as some of the professions, but it is a living nonetheless. And I think we should like change the perception and perspective from seeing these kind of profession, and appreciate these kind of people. At the end of the day, these are the people who makes your life more colorful. don't you
Yeah,
think?
exactly. I mean, like you do need that spark, that different shade of gray. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't just have black and white all the
Yeah.
time. You need colors in your life. You need spices like food. You can't eat anything that is
Exactly.
bland every single day, don't
And
you? I
that's
mean,
culinary art.
there
That's
you go.
artist right
That's
there.
another sense of creativity as well.
Yeah.
Again, it's so vast, it's so big when we talk about creativity. Okay, coming
Yeah.
from where you are, being a creative content producer within your own organization, you definitely work with a lot of these people. There has been a decline in regards of fees when we talk about hiring this kind of people. I remember when I was back in the industry about not that far long ago, about 5 6 years ago, that people always expect to get the best in regards of the product, but not really pay best at all. I mean, you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. Isn't that how it
Yeah.
is? Or what's your think about this?
Yeah, that is most of the time it is. That's because there's no understanding into what artists do. Whatever form of art it is, you can be musician, you can be a graphic designer. Basically, all you need is a little understanding and empathy. It goes a long way, and it might make you big bucks. Because artists are not asking us to pity them. Just have a little faith and belief in what we do and in what they do. I'll give you an example. Do you know the "I Love New York" logo?
Oh
It's
yes, of course.
famous. It's so famous.
Everybody knows I Heart New York. It's
I Heart New
everywhere.
York. It's everywhere,
Mhm.
and other countries are adopting it. I love
Yep.
Krabi. I love Philippines. We even have
I
I
love
love
KL.
KL.
It's
Right?
down in Dataran. At Dataran
All right.
Merdeka is there.
Exactly. The design is so simple, right? Now let me tell you a story behind that. Just a short story, just to get
Mm.
things into perspective. The story behind it is that the graphic designer at the time who designed it, Milton Glaser, he was famous, yes. He was called in to design a logo for a campaign called "I Love New York." It was aimed to revive the city from economic depression. It was during the 70s. Now, with a tight deadline, he delivered. But on the next day, he called the city commissioner again and he said, "Hey, I got something better, But the city commissioner's like, we already locked down everything. But he insists, like, but this is better, which is the "I Love New York" symbol that we still see today. And you know what? People resonates with it. And people starts participating in rebuilding the city into what it is today. It's New York. It
Yeah.
took him one extra day in order to come up with something better and long lasting.
Mm.
And even so, he's getting paid like not a lot because you just designing a logo for a city that's almost bankrupt. Do you think he get paid a lot? And
Yeah.
some would say that the design is so simple, but my friend, even if the design is so as simple as a rounded American typewriter typeface with a heart logo, it's simple, right? But
Yeah.
using something that is already common and reinventing them into something meaningful, now that, my friend, is what an artist does. And until now, you can still see the logo and still famous, and it's a pop culture icon.
It is definitely. It's been
Enough
used
said.
multiple times across the world. I mean, everybody.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, luckily he didn't patent it. He didn't register it just for
yeah,
himself. I mean, like he's that kind for to let the world share across in sharing that love, sharing that simplicity. Yet it is so impactful and so meaningful as
it
well. Now,
is.
something a bit controversial. I don't know whether you want to answer me this. Remember a couple of years back what happened with the Kuala Lumpur a logo. You definitely know what I'm talking about here. No, I no,
Yes.
I don't want to. I don't want to stir up anything that is bad or anything. But
Mhm.
I just want to
Yeah,
get your take on this because again, creativity is so subjective. It depends on how. It depends on the eye of the beholder. How that
yeah,
message is being represented. I just
it
want to ask you,
is.
why was this particular logo received such a bad repo, such a bad feedback from the netizens? You think your own opinion?
Okay, in terms of design, I spend my time a lot with designers in designing things, and you can see that when you ask someone who has only a few months, 1 year experience compared to someone who has at least 5 years of experience in design, they know what to look for, they know what resonates with it. It's the experience that counts. Remember this. And for a government body, that is, we are paying taxes for this, and and it's an image that they are trying to portray, is an image of Malaysia. And as
Mhm.
designers and as creative who works with designers, we know what is something like budak sekolah buat dengan
You
orang
you
yang
know the amount
professional
of
budak
effort that
buat.
is being put into a
Yeah,
certain type of job, don't you? I mean,
that
like you can
yes.
see that from a mile away.
Yes, I mean the type of font that they use, the kind of design element that they use, it's something that come on, we can do better. This is an image we're talking about. If New
Yeah.
York can come out with "I Love New York" that has been used for decades to come, and until up till now, we are using a copy of their version.
Okay,
Why can't
flipping
we
flipping
spend
that
a bit?
into yeah, flipping that into perspective. This actually, a lot of bad press has been given to the governing body behind the logo. But what about the logo inventors themselves? What about the artists themselves? Aren't they giving a rap to bad artists across the board because they are representing artists over here?
Okay, there are many kinds of commission that you want to ask for. If something commissions you to do something to represent an image, that's something built, that's something that represents all of us. I'm pretty sure you can hire someone that is, that knows what he or she is doing. I mean, no offense to the designer who designed it,
Yeah.
but maybe you should put more experience into it. Maybe, if you can't do it, just say you can't do it. And for the one who
Yeah.
commissioned it, uh,
Mhm.
maybe
Like
you
it
should
works
have
both ways basically because like the,
yeah,
the person who commissioned it needs to have a much better understanding as well as the designer who's been commissioned to do the work. They also
yeah,
need to embody the whole ideology behind it as well.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Not gonna touch about these things anymore.
Okay.
But I just wanna ask your opinion as well. Being in the industry, again, working very closely with designers, with artists out there, with the emergence of automation, a lot of websites
uh,
are actually offering all those kind of simple logo built up. We don't actually need designers anymore. Your thoughts on this, and what can designers do to better themselves moving forward within these testing times?
well, I mean, sure, automation and AI is here. I mean, you can go for that. Sure, why not? It's your choice at the end of the day. But having something tailor made and something that is unique to you, to your brand, to your image, to whatever cause that you are trying to do, I think it pays a lot for you to pay a little bit more for somebody who is experienced and somebody that can cater to you and your taste. And with the case of, I'm just going to touch back again with the case of the Malaysian logo last time.
The logo, yeah.
Maybe have someone who has experience, or majlis few people that talks and debate about it, which one do they think is good. Then maybe that is the case, that should be better lah. And I don't think that was the case last time, because it just looks awful, basically.
Yeah.
And like I said, arts is very subjective, tailor made to your liking, and
Mhm.
computer cannot do that. Computer is just
Yeah.
auto generated, and it gives you whatever mixture that they think is good, and most of the time it's not good at all.
Yeah, human element is still required when it comes to creativity.
Yes.
When it comes to something that you want to feel, you want to understand, and you want to believe in a certain brand. You still need that human element, and it is always wise for companies out there to actually invest a little bit. You know why? Because it would make you as the brand owner look awesome as well.
Exactly.
Zikri Marzuki, thank you so much for having a chance to actually talk about this. Really appreciate your insights, and I do hope that you also will create more beautiful logos and beautiful designs, not just using PowerPoint after this. I think you can do more than PowerPoint.
On behalf of artists and creatives around Malaysia and the world, yes, I
Yes,
will keep on doing it.
awesome stuff. Thank you so much for being on the show, Zikri. Thank
Thank you
you.
for having me.
All right, that was Zikri Mazuki, guys, talking about our artists are dying breed. It shows actually a little bit of investment will give you so much more and be such a in a better position moving forwards. That's all is for now for Let's Chat this edition. Hope you guys enjoy this particular episode. Hope to see you guys again. Bye bye. See